Good evening, everybody. It is the end of a long day, a good day, but it's a successful day, but a long day. My name is Daniel Young. I'm the owner and founder of Adaptive Perspective and the Adaptive Perspective social media platforms. And I am back with more strategy on the market at large and how we can use closed-end funds to improve our investing. So this is an unedited video. Who knows what you'll hear in the background as I film these in my house, and hopefully that won't be much because I locked up my cat because he was being a jerk. Uh, Most everybody else is asleep, so really it's just me. So I am not a financial advisor. I am a financial strategist, and I don't speak like the herd. I walk in limited company, and most often I walk alone. I walk alone. So where's the market? Getting into it, where's the market? It's back in fear territory because we're finally at the tail end of election season, which means the media is lying about everything, including the overall strength of the economy, as Seeking Alpha noted in their most recent briefing. Now, they didn't spin it that way, although they did comment about the overall economy. Um, they referenced the central bank's half point rate cut back in September, and then said incoming data has suggested a continued deterioration in the labor market, an economy that was still chugging along, and an inflation situation that may not be completely out of the woods yet. It keeps the Fed on track to deliver another interest rate cut next week, and markets expect it to be a 25 basis point decrease. But if you read between the lines, if you really listen, their observations don't line up. Now, it sounds good, but a deteriorating labor market and a chugging economy don't match, although they did note the inflation hasn't disappeared. So, what does that really mean? What happens? Well, if Trump wins, I don't know what the Fed's going to do besides trying to keep their power. With Ron Paul signing on to help Elon Musk, and Ron Paul being the greatest critic of the Fed and IRS in recent decades, Paul would join the Unity Party, and that can't make those power hungry jackals feel that good. If Kamala somehow pulls off a steal, they'll say it's the best economy of the last 4 years, which is cloak and dagger for not that great. Now, in truth, the media is not openly sharing because they're keeping you distracted with election nonsense and fake polls. And, and we are in, yeah, I mean, the easiest thing, we're in stagflation with increasing rumors of layoffs, store closings, and just an absolutely filthy labor market. October was supposed to add almost 166,000 jobs. Now, as one of my students very correctly said, how does anybody really keep up with all the jobs markets? And how does anybody keep up with all the home sales? I mean, that's a ton of data, a lot, most of which is extrapolated data. You got to understand the jobs report is faulty at the start. It's an average, and it has built-in seasonal workers averaged into the existing average. So pick your holiday, uh, candy season, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, which is kind of a continuation, Valentine's Day, Easter, Memorial Day, Labor Day, like all of these seasonal work and part-time jobs are also factored into the jobs report, which is shaky at best. But even if we acknowledge the rickety support of that job support or of that jobs report, it was supposed to be 166,000 jobs added in October. Instead, we added 12,000, just 12,000, right? But if you listen to the media, Bidenomics is working, and Kamala would continue and grow Bidenomics. And yet, right now, it's just 12,000 jobs. That's gosh, for a stagnating labor market and a slowing economy, it's really hard to have an economy that's chugging along. It's like a snail's pace. Like we might as well be going backwards. So it's not that we're not out of the woods, it's that we can't even see the end of the woods with the current leadership and vision. So I hope election day brings us some great news because in the day-to-day life and in the investing life, the alternative is bleak. The Fed can twist, the media can spin, but that doesn't mean all the other stuff just goes away. It's there. It's just said differently. So where does that leave us? I mean, the best place to be right now is in bonds, utilities, and energy, but that's not where I'd invest right now. And honestly, this week I'm going with caution. I'm all for fearless investing. I'm all for going all for it. I'm all for plowing ahead where the herd is not, but it is way too chaotic right now. And this week isn't going to help. I mean, yes, we're in fear territory. For the most part, you're going to pay more. I mean, for bonds, utilities, and energy, that's where you should have been 6 months to a year ago, maybe 4 to 5 months, but really 6 months to a year and 2 years ago. And if you buy it now, even if you buy it with a killer discount, you're still going to pay more for it than it was 6 months to 2 years ago. Um, I mean, I still think real estate is the better long-term play, but with as choppy and chaotic and tumultuous as the market is right now, this week isn't going to help with that. So the alternative to that is my mentor Brett Owens is back to writing his bond bull on his favorite plays, but those are out of our price range, and to be honest, they're in premium territory, and we're not gonna buy a premium. Right? That does not make either of those. Well, we'll say of his selections mentioned, which are I want to say at least two bond companies, if not three. It doesn't make him a great buy. Pay more for them and pay them and pay premium. That's not our deal. So I don't disagree with him much. Yeah, but we're not going to buy premium, no matter how good it looks. We buy discounts, we buy historic discounts, and buying premiums is just foolish. So you've got options if you're looking for bonds, but I'm still looking at real estate. And if we really want to get into it, I mean, if you're talking bonds, you talk bond proxies like energy and utilities, but it's slim pickings comparatively. I mean, I mean, honestly, it's a really crazy week, really volatile week, which means unless you get a giant discount or you have just some obscene price drop, we're going to hold off. So that said, let's see where the deals are for the week, and then I'll let you make up your own mind on what to do with your portfolio. So let me share screens. Let me share screens. Zoom changed my screen a little bit, so let me share screens. All right. So the entire list was updated because it's a new month. So normally it's purple, dark blue, green, purple, and light blue that gets updated. But today everything got updated because it's a new month. And I'm not going to get into discount and target like normal because that's something I talk about every week generally. So we scale by discount, and we scale by target, and we come up with this top group that's in triple asterisk historic discount territory. We take that list, we drop it onto this one. I've trimmed up some views in a sense. I used to have extra columns, but it really it's too chaotic. So these are our current targets. I left bonds and loans on here and high fixed income just because that's what my mentors going for. Energy and utilities fit into that, but really, if we were buying, we would look at this, unless we can just scoop a fantastic deal somewhere. So first and foremost, we want monthly payments. We want trustworthy, cut and dry. They're going to pay regardless monthly payments, consistent payments. Next, so everything's got a historic discount. And you're getting the best deal possible for the time. And that's what this column is. And just because that one's 56, now dollar wise, investment wise, I mean, instead of paying a dollar, you're paying 44 cents on the dollar because it's 56 cents off. This one, you're paying about a cent off. So you're paying about 99 cents for every dollar invested. It's different in that sense, but it's this data is related to this one. This data is related to that one. The discount relates to the individual fund. So you're getting the best possible deal based on the historical value and the historical discount. So we eliminate everything that's not a monthly payer. Then we can be exceptionally choosy on yield. So our general targets are 9% or greater unless there's a really good reason to buy a cheaper yield. And HFRO remains that exception. Although I could make a bigger case for Saba, but HFRO makes that exception. Its dividend was slashed earlier in the year because it changed from a bond hedge fund to a real estate fund, and not all of their stuff is online. And since they're heavily invested in the management firm who yeah obviously manages the portfolio, uh, all the fears seem overblown. They're making payments. Their overall worth continues to go up. They're making the payments, they're collecting rents, and more of their properties will come online next year. So it seems overblown. It's dipped, which has made so I mean they cut their dividend, the price dipped, which has made that slowly go up. Simply, I mean, you're paying less for something at the same dividend. So, I mean, by example, if we made it 5.4, you'd get a higher dividend. Of what the dividend used to be is insane, but they cut it in half because I get it. They switched their portfolio and could make the dividend payment. Now, my hope is that as more of their square footage comes online, their dividend goes back up. And if their dividend goes back up, their price will go back up. So it remains the exception to the 9% rule. But everything else on here, and we can talk what everything else is. I mean, municipal bonds, not right now. Utilities, it's dipped a little bit with the current fear market, hasn't dipped a ton. Um, I mean, we track it, but we're not going to pay $32 a share. Um, Nuveen is generally more bonds. Yeah, PDT. It's that thing of yes, it's under 16 a share, but I really try not to buy things that high. It's got to be an amazing deal to buy that high. Now, it is on our hit list, but it's just not right now. Really, I mean yield, but also just not right now. And Saba's all it's new ownership government bonds. I mean they have split, but also they have surged. Um, but still not right now. Stocks, stocks. This one makes sense to people. It does not make sense to me. Renewable energy is not renewable in the sense of it takes oil and oil byproduct to maintain. So it just seems like a giant lie to me. So I have a hard time investing in renewable energy when it's not renewable and when it's worse for the environment. Um, that being, I mean, and plus, these products don't compete with oil. They compete through government subsidies and payouts, but they don't compete for oil. They don't compete with oil. Windmills, especially, windmills are horrible for the environment. They require oil and diesel in order to work. They kill the raptor population. And when the blades break, they have to go in a special environmentally friendly dumpster. Um, they go in a giant landfill, and it takes a special landfill to do it because there's this giant metal blade. Makes no sense. But there are people who love it. Now, that being said, solar has a place. I mean, if you have an off-grid cabin or you live in the mountains and you don't want to run 3 miles of electrical line and to have a power source, it completely makes sense. I mean, solar has a place. Water power has a place. Um, I'm not saying it's all bad. It's how it's pushed. Not a fan of how it's pushed, and they're investing in how it's pushed. Um, stocks. Not right now. Technology. Love the fund, but not right now. CIF is bonds, high income, high corporate yield. They're on one end of the company size pendulum. Um, FSCO is on the other end of the company size pendulum. You're looking at like 33 million to 50 million to 2.5 billion. They do very similar things, just in different size. Um, both have shrunk overall in the discount in the last 6 to 9 months. So you're still getting things. I mean, FSCO was a private fund. It's been on the market for maybe a year, maybe a little more than a year. Started off with a 15% discount, and that has closed dramatically. This has closed dramatically since we bought it. Uh, HGLB is a mix of things. BRW is a shareholder activist bond fund. It used to be just bonds, but now they invest into a lot of different things besides bonds. But they advocate for shareholders, and I like that. I can sign on to that. I have signed on for that, but I don't know if it's the best thing to invest in right now. I mean, BRW is it like 753 a share. CIF's up a little bit out of that. Um, FSCO is yeah, 667, which is a less auspicious number than 666. HFRO down a little bit. HGLB up. NVXG is all stocks. That's just not an option right now. MEGI is a utility fund, much like ERH. I want to say that's what that fund was. We can go back and check. ERH. Uh, both do 100% utility investments. They both do it slightly differently. Um, and you could make a case for picking up utility right now because it is a bond proxy, but you're going to pay a lot more for it right now than you would have. The only thing on the list that still fits the bond bill for us is CIF, but that's if I thought bonds were a great investment. And long term, I still see real estate as a great investment. But since we're not investing this week, and instead of culling the entire list out as to just real estate, I wanted to give you some options. So if we backtrack a little bit, let's see, backtrack a little more. So if we took out bonds, or if we took out municipal bonds, which municipal bonds can be a really good thing if you know how they work, if you know your tax bracket. Uh, I guess we can leave those on. Utility, high utility, the stuff that just doesn't make sense right now, I am going to take off. So we're left with bonds, bonds, municipal, utility, real estate, utility, a mix. And I think I already said real estate. So if it was us and it was maybe 2 weeks from now and this was the playing field, I would invest here. But it's not 2 weeks from now, it's tomorrow. We're not investing tomorrow. This week is a caution week for us. So for you, you know your portfolio best. You know what you have, you know, hopefully what you have, you know the best deals that fit. I mean, if you're already invested in something on the list and it's a great dollar cost average mood, I mean, you'll pick up a great discount, but it also comes down to is it a better buy for you? Like if your average on any of these, like if your average on Meggy is at $17 a share, well, it is in a historical discount and you can pick it up for cheaper. So I can understand why that would make sense for you. If you're like us and you don't own Meggy, it's not really a great deal right now. Like it's cheap, yes, but it's also higher than it's been. Not a great deal. And like I said earlier, I mean, the bond rally really was 6 months to 2 years ago. And the bond proxies, utilities, and energy go along with that. So you can still pick up stuff relatively cheap and relatively discounted, or in this case, historically discounted in comparison. But we'll say like intra level price is, I mean, two, three, $4 higher than it was 6 months to 2 years ago. So it's all about perspective and how it impacts you. So if you can pick up something on the list at a steal, I mean, yes, you're getting it at a discount. If the price is less than what you've already paid, then you'll lower your overall average price. That makes sense. Plus, you get a fantastic yield, especially from this point up. In HFRO, I think will pay an eventual better yield, but for sure, that top five bunch, I mean, they pay 10% or more. That's outstanding. Heck, 7%. I mean, the current S&P yield is like 1.2, so it's 7%. You're getting something that's more than 5 times better than what you would get off a single stock in the S&P 500 or 504, whatever it is actually. So you're still getting a fantastic yield by comparison. However, if you want to be extra choosy, you can be reaping an amazing dividend at a great discount and a great buy-in if it makes sense to you. But right now, for us, the name of the game is caution because it's going to be a crazy week. And HFRO is cheap, cheaper than it's been in a long while. But quite honestly, if this price just dropped at the end of the week, like if this price fell, I mean, we already own it. We're not going to join the herd and sell off and create another panic. Um, and yes, this is our current portfolio for all of these things and how the pricing works. Um, I mean, it's hard. Oh, all of our self-managed, self-directed funds are in Webull. It's hard to quickly. My only caveat to doing that, if you have money in the bank and can buy, it's very easy. Buy and sell, trade, all that stuff. But if we were gonna like, if we thought that this price was gonna suddenly drop this week, I would want to sell it earlier, get a better sell price, let it collect the funds, all of that stuff, right? The funds would drop, and then we would buy whatever when it was low. But if I was transferring money out, say from our individual account, like if we sold one of these two funds because these are on the chopping block at some point, it takes a good week for me to get that money from one account to the other. We have an individual account and we have a Roth account, both with Webull. Those funds do not communicate. They both appear on my screen, but it's not like I can just transfer money from the brokerage to the Roth. I have to. sell the funds in the brokerage, withdraw them out, and have them drop into a bank account before I can upload them back into the Roth. So if I'm going to do this, sell funds out of here, it takes about a week. If I'm going to sell something here, it doesn't impact me on Roth or taxes in that regard. It all stays in the fund. Uh, but if we, like, if this tumbled, I mean, it's 610 now. 560 is not that much crazier lower. But if it tumbled to like 5.3, the yield goes up. Buying 100 is relatively easy, right? Based on what we have. So we could scoop 100. And then what would happen on this end, I don't remember what price I put in. 530, so 530. So we have this already plus 530 divided by now 400 makes our price go down 20 cents. So it's using the fear and the drop to acquire more, not necessarily selling what we have and going through that hassle to buy more, if that makes sense. So you know your portfolio. Do the best thing for you. For us, right now, it's caution, unless, there we go, unless this fantastic discount opens up somewhere, whether it's on this list or anywhere else. Like if something else of what we already owned, like if real estate, taxable loan, like, I mean, if something else opened up with, so this is in premium, that's in premium. If those opened up, I mean, honestly, we have funds in here marked for sale, these two. We also have just long-term funds. Like eventually the energy market will, or in the oil and energy transfer market will change and we'll sell funds at some point. That's KYN and NML. Real estate in this batch is IGR. Same thing holds true for that. This is the remaining bond fund, outright bond fund. Um, ZTR is a mix of bond funds. This has transitioned into a portfolio that I'm not a huge fan of at the moment. We'll see if they can rally something with it. But if DSL suddenly opened up into an extreme discount, like the price just fell out and the discount opened, even though it's on this side would stay. It's on our hit list to buy it for this side. And we would pick up 100 shares if we could on the Roth end of things. And I get it, even though it's a bond, but it's playing the current market for the long term. So all set. Do the best thing for you and your portfolio. Run your strategy. Use the current market, scoop amazing deals, and play the long game. That's really all there is to it. Can I close this? Thankfully, I can close this. All right. So that's really all I got. If you like the content, consider subscribing to my channel, hit the like button, and it really does help push videos out. And if you want to find me day to day, I'm doing something new and challenging for me. I've merged content onto my Instagram handle, same adapted perspective handle, and I am attempting to learn the Instagram system and have combined a lot of different content and material onto one platform. The day-to-day memes, the day-to-day financial strategy. These videos will post to there. The Wednesday videos will post to there. Uh, the Scholarship Hub information on Saturday, the Solomon post on Sunday. It's interweaving and merging everything onto one platform that posts every single day about everything. Because bigger picture, it's going to help me better learn Instagram for something my wife and I are doing, what we hope to do in the spring, really in the summer. So I figured if I was going to learn the platform and learn, so I mean, start out how you start out, you get better as you go, right? That's the goal. But as I learn the platform and the system and how posting works, that by the time we hit the time, by the time we reach the point of launch for launching that business in, or at least launching that business online, what we hope for May, then I'm much more familiar with Instagram and how to do things best. So the best way for me to do that is to force myself to do that and to merge all the content I produce into Instagram as opposed to running day-to-day stuff on Facebook and then separating it. I'm still going to make YouTube videos. That's not my point. And I still have the Pinterest page for housing financial memes and scholarships and a lot of other stuff. But instead of breaking out content and really trying to house it in different places, I'm going to try to merge it into one place. So we're going to see how that goes. So if you want the entire system that gets you from where you are to real financial freedom and not just the weekly closed-end fund updates, and then come check out what I'm posting on Instagram. And I mean, if anything, drop me a review and not like a, I mean, you can say what you want, nasty or otherwise, but leave me what is that called? Leave me real feedback. So whatever you have for the week, I wish you a great week. Don't get sucked into the craziness. I mean, the market can pump fear. That's great, but don't get sucked into the fear. And if I don't find you on it, or if you don't find me on Instagram, I will see you on another video next week. Just remember, for the financial journey, manifestation might make you feel good and relaxed, but it's not going to solve all your problems. If you want something different or something more, you're gonna have to get out there and make it happen. So this is Daniel Young signing off on another video, and I will see y'all later. Bye bye.